Welcome to the Crappie Anglers of Texas August meeting. Okay, what do you think that Paul? Hey, with Gary Sims, three-time Angler of the Year, Paul O'Bear, I think he deserves a great round of applause, huh? Paul, you've been very consistent, obviously, winning the first inaugural AOY of Crappie Anglers of Texas. You won the second one, backed that one up, and now you got a lock on the third one. And now that target, I guess, that you always talk about on your back is getting bigger and bigger. So, after hours, would you just tell me all your secrets afterwards? And no. There's some of the things that you do as far as mentally preparing yourself to go fish a lake from a tournament perspective. There's a lot to that, and I think as Mackie pointed out, we've learned a lot about that here. But as a reminder, refresher for the group here, can you just highlight about three things that you would really look at? Let's say we got Lake Palestine coming up. Okay, I think that's a lake that you probably haven't fished very often, if at all. I don't know. So, kind of applying that to that, what would be the three things? I know there's more, but three that you would really look at before you went down there and fished it.
Well, if we're going to take Palestine, I've been there once. I fished one tournament on it, back when Big Fish Cliff was doing tournaments. If the lake's got timber, I'm going to fish timber. And y'all may think I'm crazy, but you give me a lake that's got trees in it, I'm going to be hard to beat. Because I visualize what a tree looks like in the water. I can tell you when I pull up to that tree where you're going to catch a fish. And I don't know if y'all know what a boat arc tree is. It's a horse apple tree. Some people call it a hedge apple. It's got the green ball on it. But if you're fishing in 20-foot water and this boat arc tree sticking out of the water this high, what I do is I drive down the road and look at things like that. I find a boat arc tree and sometimes I'll stop and look at it and go, them limbs go down on an angle. Some boat arc trees are real bushy at the bottom. Some are bushier at the top. You have to figure that out and visualize what that tree looks like in the water. But a tree is leaning. There's a reason why that tree is leaning. It's usually got limbs to that side. If you look at all our trees, the way the wind blows from the south. Most of our trees lean to the south. You just have to visualize it.
Cody, you're kind of the young whippersnapper here, okay? You've done very well in your 2 years with the club. What are some of the things that you see as that's helped you be successful? If I recall correctly, you've won at least 2 tournaments this year out of the 6 qualifiers. And so what do you think has led to your success with you and your teammates?
Well, I learned from the best.
Here.
Thank you.
Just consistency. Like at Lake of the Pines, I had all the boat troubles, but we found a stump row on a creek channel, and we had better fish on Friday than we did Saturday. And we were going to go home after the boat got the hole in it, and I told my partner, we got to qualify. We have not qualified yet this year. We need to qualify. And So Bob McCaffrey was generous enough to give us a boat, and we fished 6 trees that day, all day. We would bounce around from one to another, and we never had company. We could see everybody, but nobody ever came near us. And just once you find a pattern, you got to figure it out. We fished 100 trees the day before, and some trees were good. It seemed like every tree had fish on it, but you got to find the big ones when you're fishing a tournament. And I mean, that's really
Okay.
you know. And like on Texoma last year, I won Texoma last year, and I had never fished a brush pile until 2 weeks before that tournament. And I went and looked for trees on Texoma. And I found something sticking out of the water that I thought looked like a tree, and then I looked down at my graph and there's stuff everywhere, and that's the brush pile that I won the tournament on, you know. But just practice. This year I didn't get to practice a whole lot, but you kind of apply, I've learned the different lakes that you go to, you apply what you do at your home lake, and you figure out if that technique's going to work or if it's not. And most of the lakes it didn't. Richland, well, you know, Ray Roberts is my home lake, so that's the one I take that knowledge and I go to a lake, and then I'll do that. I'll fish for an hour or two that way, and if that's not working, I'll try something completely opposite, and it's usually one of the two. So that's really it. I just take what I know from my home lake and apply it to the next lake, and if it's not working, do something different.
I'm just going to go around and take a survey here that we always hear about jigs versus minnows. Okay? These people, obviously, if you've heard, have all been successful, not only just catching crappie in a recreational way, which they obviously do, but in a competitive environment, which is a much tougher, because you have to do it on that day. You don't get a choice whether it's windy, rain, whatever, and stuff like that. So, Rhonda, starting with you, are you a purist? Do you do jigs and minnow, or just minnows?
Tournament only, or are we talking, for fun, jigs only? So
Okay.
Tournament, I start with minnows, and he starts with jigs, and we decide which one's biting best.
Okay, do you mix the two together? The jigs with the minnow. Okay, do that. Mackie.
We always have minnows with us. Usually I'll start straight jig and keep the start with a jig with a minnow tip. And we'll see which pattern works the best. I mean, I think the pines keep using jig, minnow, and crappie nibble, so. It's covered all the bases. But yeah, we fish both. So sometimes we'll see where they start off on the jig and the bite will slow down, and we'll start kicking it with the minnow and it'll pick back up.
Paul.
I prefer jig fishing tournaments. It's quicker, easier, less hassle. But certain times of the year, we do tip jig with minnows.
How many tournaments did you have minnows at this year, out of the qualifiers?
How many did I have them?
Yeah.
Every one.
Okay.
Doesn't mean we use them, but we have them.
Okay. Pat.
We're the same way. I didn't buy minnows at Richland Chambers last time. I fished straight jigs. But usually we're getting at least 3 dozen minnows just for backup. We may pre-fish with minnows, see if they're biting any better than that, but we're generally jigs. And if we're struggling with them, we'll dig out the minnows, fish with the minnows.
Cody.
I usually don't carry minnows, but there's one lake that I will, and I will not tell you what it is yet.
And that's Ray Roberts. All right, John?
Well, we normally have both jigs and minnows, and Ron likes to start off with the minnows and everything to kind of see what they're working on that day. I like the jigs myself, and sometimes they'll respond better to the minnows on certain days, and if they're working on the minnows, we put the jigs away and go straight to the minnows.
With that, I think if there's not any other questions that you have out there in the audience, I'd like to turn it over to Andy Rodriguez to do the raffle.